Welcome to the Acura NSX. This week we're going to be driving this, and I wanted to give some first impressions on what this has been like to drive in my first day or two behind the wheel. This is a hybrid, all-wheel drive supercar. We have 573 horsepower and 476 pound-feet of torque, which is a combined power output between a twin-turbo V6 and a hybrid battery system. Full-time, all-wheel drive, torque vectoring that can individually power each wheel. I had a chance to drive this early on in its launch, and I was really impressed with what it felt like behind the wheel. So specs aside, that's not what this video is going to be about. I want to talk about what it's like to drive this thing, because that's where you really get to know this car and just appreciate all the work that's gone into it. Yes, it's a complicated piece of technology, but the driving experience in this is pretty phenomenal. And I think for what it is, it's very cool. A lot of people have called this the bargain Porsche 918, and I tend to agree with that. You could daily drive this, no problem. Aside from the ground clearance and the lack of storage, it's very livable inside and out. And it also, I think, looks phenomenal. This is just a great looking car. Pretty tiny trunk. You also do have this hump here, but you could squeeze a few things in here randomly. There are a few lighter weight options for 2020. Carbon fiber roof, save some weight. You have carbon ceramic brakes on this car. We're actually going to be track testing this later this weekend, and so we'll get some performance behind the wheel in this NSX and get a chance to really test it and put it to its limits. But for now, let's go on a street drive and just show you guys what this thing can do on the road. It turns off a lot, unless if you have it in Sport Plus mode, then the engine will stay running. But there are basically 4 different drive modes. There's quiet, which is quiet, comfortable, fuel efficient. You'll get a lot of electric only driving out of that. Sport, kind of a nice mid-range. Sport Plus, you can hear the exhaust open up a little bit. And then if you hold to the right on this dynamic mode selector, you will get track, and that's the fun mode. We're gonna start off in quiet mode though. Let's putz around a little bit in an NSX and see how this thing is. You can hear you get that funky tone from this being a hybrid or in electric mode, so people around the car can hear you. The steering in this NSX is incredibly light. Very fast ratio. The steering rack in this is almost immediate. You barely have to turn the wheel to get cornering out of this thing. We have Apple CarPlay, a slightly dated infotainment system from Acura, but that's okay. You know, it works. With Apple CarPlay, that's all you need. You can control your volume, change your tracks, do all of your adjustments as needed. It's fine. Honestly, people complained a little bit about all the Acura, shared parts in this car from other models. They're nice. They're pretty nice feeling. They work. Really, the only knock against this particular car that I have is what you can hear is this little dash rattle. There's some carbon fiber in there making contact in the steering column or something, and it's a little bit annoying, but that's okay. We can forgive this car for that. This thing is incredibly easy and relaxing to drive. It kind of just wafts along. You get all that torque fill from the battery at low RPMs, and you can hear those 2 turbos spooling up behind you. It's a pretty great sound. Let's put it into sport mode here. responsiveness and the directness of this car is just on another level. It's pretty amazing how quick it responds to your inputs. There's an immediacy to the power, to just about everything you do in this NSX. And it's just so satisfying. While we're here, let's do a quick little launch control. Kind of have to. 0 to 60 in like 2.9 seconds. It's fast. Switch into manual mode. This thing is awesome. Sounds pretty good too. Interestingly, the brake pedal is brake-by-wire. It's not directly connected to anything. But the feel is fantastic. It feels perfect. It's got exactly the right level of resistance and firmness. It's very linear, easy to modulate, and with these carbon ceramics, you've got all the braking power and capability and fade resistance that you could need. You can feel that there'd be a little bit of turbo lag in this, but it's completely eliminated by the hybrid torque fill from the battery. Nine-speed transmission, makes all the right shifting decisions. It's very smooth, it's very fast, does what you need. The drivetrain in this is awesome. It's great, no complaints. So I said earlier you could daily drive this NSX. Why is that? Well, these seats are super comfortable. There's pretty minimal adjustments overall, but you can adjust it forward and back. You do have some back adjustment in there. Cruise control is easy to operate, no radar guided in this car, but all the ergonomics, everything's easy to use. You have really nice visibility. There's a great greenhouse here, even out of the rear. I can see out pretty well. You get pretty decent fuel economy too. In the city the other day on mostly electric power, I was able to eke out about 46 miles to the gallon on the readout. Of course, averaged out over time, it'd be a little bit less than that, but that's okay. Wait to get this thing on track. I spent a little bit of time on tracks in the NSX. We did a drag racing day at Milan Dragway a few years ago, and that was great to test launch control and the acceleration and the power and speed this thing has. But the other track time that I had was at Road America in the wet. It was pouring raining, it was super greasy out, and the all-wheel drive in this handles that really well. But again, there's not a whole lot you can do in one lap around Road America on a super wet track. So we're taking this out to Gingerman Raceway, and we'll have some fun on this thing. I'm very excited to see what it can do. technology and the engineering behind this car, there's just so much. It's so complicated, you guys. There is a lot going on here. But it results in such an incredible driving experience. It's exciting, it's fun, it's visceral. Despite all of the tech and all of the wizardry going on, this is a driver's car. It is a pretty phenomenal thing from Acura. Yeah, you see some little similarities here and there with, you know, other Acuras, the transmission gear selector, some of the design language on the interior, a lot of the buttons and switches, but that's pretty much where it ends. What a thing. On the highway, no wind noise, perfectly comfortable. We even have an ELS audio system. Great sound quality from this. We'll do just a quick sound test at the end of this video. I'll explain the gauge cluster a little bit. So in quiet mode, you get a little bit of a hybrid indicator here. It'll tell you when you're in regenerative braking, when you're charging the battery or getting assist from the electric motor. And you can actually see this battery level indicator in real time, and it'll regenerate quite quickly. You can watch it go up and go down, and it'll also deplete pretty fast as well. Right, just there through that regenerative braking, it went up above 3/4, and then with acceleration it went down below 3/4. Kind of cool. Sport mode is just kind of your everyday drive mode. These are really well tuned and nicely isolated and separated from each other, these drive modes. Go into full manual gearbox control here. So let's go left. Give this one more entrance ramp for fun. You know, I was a little bit afraid that all of the engineering in this NSX would result in a slightly distant and isolated driving experience, but that's just not the case. There's an approachability to this car, but also its limits are so high that it's incredibly exciting and engaging to drive at the same time. Incredible cornering ability, 1.08 G around the corners. But that's the great thing about this. It's a supercar that you can drive every day. The ride quality is phenomenal. It's super comfortable. I cannot express how great this driving position is. Wheels straight up into my chest. There's a good amount of adjustability. I feel like I have room around me. I'm not cramped in this cabin. It really barks on the overrun. That's awesome. just want to keep driving this thing. This is just awesome. I will say, when I first got into this week, just the experience of being in the cabin and driving this, it's twofold. The first part is you feel like you're in a spaceship. This is just I think this is a really awesome interior. It's pretty cool the way it's designed and the way everything is set up. You sit so low, the car is so low, you get in and out of it, and it just feels special. And then the other part is once you're driving it, yeah, it has all the performance, it makes all the right noises. It feels like a supercar. It's fresh, it's fizzy, it's exciting, it's visceral. But then you put it into quiet mode and you forget you're driving an NSX. You feel like you're in just a regular car. And that's a pretty unique space in the supercar realm where you can just drive in complete comfort. I think probably the only thing that's as close to this would be like a McLaren. Let's do one more entrance ramp. You can feel this torque vectoring working, and it's nuts. I cannot wait to get this thing out on track. It's going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, well, we'll wrap up my thoughts there. Let's do a little bit of a sound test and just kind of give you guys a taste of what this ELS audio system sounds like. We've got some new tracks. We're bringing back Pink Mirrors by popular demand. But yeah, let's start here and we'll get an idea of what the sound system's like. While we're listening, we'll do a little bit of a fuel economy challenge to see what kind of gas mileage we can get out of this NSX on back roads and highway. Excellent clarity, really nice bass tones. I mean, this is a great sound system. ELS always does a fantastic job with Acura. I think it's up there with some of the best out in the industry. Despite this funky, weird volume adjuster here on the slot on the side, you have easy steering wheel controls. Careful with your throttle inputs. You can maintain speed just on the electric motors up to about 50 miles an hour or so, especially if you're on flat or level or going downhill. The way this thing corners is indescribable. It's working to give you more grip, more turn, and more direct of a line. And you can feel it working. It's pretty cool. Cruising at 50 miles an hour here in pure electric. Engine just turned off. And what's cool is even though this is a hybrid, it's exciting to drive in the hybrid mode too. It's great in every mode because you can kind of gamify your fuel economy in quiet mode and say, oh, I can coast down this hill, turn the engine off, cruise an EV. Look at this, I'm maintaining my speed at 50 miles an hour around this corner. If I give it a little bit of gas, the engine kicks on, but of course it's seamless. Don't get me wrong, it's not boring to drive in any of these drive modes, in any sense of the word. This car engages you in all of its facets, all of its elements. Alright guys, last but not least, let's bring back pink mirrors. Pretty easy to park too. When you put it in reverse, you flip your mirror switch over. It'll automatically lower that side so you can see the curbing, your wheels, how close they are. You get a few different reverse camera modes here, just like any Honda Acura product. No problem taking this out to the city, parking it on a curb. The door height is a little bit low, but just opening up the door, you have to watch how high your curb is next to you. But yeah, guys, just a phenomenal car. We got 26.3 miles to the gallon just there. And in the city, that goes up even more because you can use more of that electric power. But your battery will deplete and you'll have to recharge that at some point. So over time, over a longer driving scenario, you're going to be averaging 20 to 23 miles to the gallon in this, which is pretty good for a supercar. Pretty impressive. What a thing. Love this color too. Little taste of the engine bay in there. These are maybe some of my favorite wheels on any car. I saw this at the Detroit Auto Show a few years ago and really, really liked the way this design kind of wrapped up and they finalized everything. We were seeing concept cars for years, and I think they nailed this NSX. For what it is, it's just an awesome, awesome car. This is kind of cool too when you walk up to it. Door handles open. Just awesome. I love it. All right, guys. Well, that'll wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. But, yeah. What a special car, and I really appreciate Acura loaning us this week. We will see you guys at the racetrack and for some more spirited driving. It's nice to be able to drive this on the street, but really I want to see what this thing can do around some corners and in a performance setting, because I think that's really where this car is just gonna blow my mind. I've only just gotten a taste of what this thing can do on the street, so looking forward to that. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video. Take care. Appreciate all your support. We'll see you later.